Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we will be kind of continuing on where we left off before. In my last video, we created a basic ADR session in Pro Tools. But in that video, I really didn't go over the routing. So in this video, I thought I could quickly just kind of go over the routing and explain how things are kind of rounded. Again, just keeping it basic. If we want to start adding more stuff and expanding to more advanced type of stuff, let me know. I can keep making some more videos. So let's jump in. So if we remember from our last video, we have our picture up here on top, and underneath we have the dialogue, right? So what I typically do, and again, I think I mentioned this in the last video, is like primarily I have a control surface. So primarily I'm in the box, I would say. I don't have like an analog gear or a digital console. I mean, an analog console or a digital console. I have a control surface and I'm mostly just in the box. So that's kind of how I'm going to lay it out here. I know everybody's setup's different, but I'm hoping, again, the concepts kind of come across in this video, and that helps you out. So let's take a look at this first track here. We got dialogue. So typically, for this track, you wouldn't need an input. I'd recommend putting no input. And then I would route this out to my control room, right? So this is going to come to me in my control room. Some of you may not have a control room. I know there's some studios that have the actor in the same room with them, next to them on the computer. So that might be slightly different for you. We'd probably just route everything to headphones, I guess, at that point. I've never been in a situation like that, but okay, cool. So this first one we're going to send to the control room, which would be me, maybe a producer or an assistant in the room with me. Maybe sometimes a director likes to sit in the control room and not sit in the booth with the actor. So I would have to route everything to me. And like I mentioned last time, to have more control, I would route everything to the actor on his own track. Just the dialogue. That just gives you more control. So again, for the dialogue, I would put no input. And this was going to the queue. You could call it actor, or to the stage, to the live room, to the booth. That's just going to them, everyone who's in the booth right now. So then I would route them. I'd give them their own separate feed to the headphones, okay? So this is coming to me. This is going to them. And again, this is just to have more control. I could send a send, which is probably what a lot of people would do. Just send a send, maybe pre-fader, so you have control. The thing that I find is that sometimes you have an actor who may not want to listen to themselves while they do it, which is fine, right? Because then you could just mute it. But sometimes a lot of the time you have actors who want to hear themselves out as they do it. And this gives you more control. That way they can hear whatever they want to hear down here, and then you're hearing something completely different here. And you can focus on hearing, the audio that you're capturing and make sure it's all good. But sometimes, there are times where sometimes you want to hear it and maybe just lower it so you can hear it along with the actor. So you can watch, keep an ear out for tone and pitch and make sure that they're at least in the ballpark, So let's move on. So that covers dialogue coming to me in the control room, dialogue to the actor. And again, for music and a sound effects track, we don't want any input. So let's clear that out. And I'm going to send this to the control room. So I'm hearing sound effects and music and dialogue. And so far, the actor's only hearing dialogue, right? Now, what I do is, we got two choices here. So with music and sound effects, you're not really hearing them a whole lot of the time during an ADR session, at least any sessions that I've been in. You're really trying to focus on the dialogue. If they want to, sometimes a director might ask you to play the scene so the actor can get kind of back in that mind frame where they're at on the day and kind of the vibe with the music and the sound effects. If it's like I did a session the other day where it's like a shootout scene. It's a war scene. So I think it helped the actor to hear the gunshots and hear the music and hear, get a vibe of the energy. But most of the time while you're recording, you're going to want to turn that stuff off because you don't want to distract. You want to focus on the dialogue. You want to make sure, the performance is there, the pitch is there, the tone is there, timing is there. So I would say majority of the time you're not going to hear that. So these you could probably get away with sending sends because chances are you're going to be muting these while you're recording. you're probably just going to hear these while you're previewing it. So I think these would be okay to send out. A send, and what I would do is send it pre-fader, right? So both these. So why pre-fader? Because now that gives me control over what they're hearing. So I could turn mine down completely if I wanted to, and they'd still be hearing it. If they want to hear it, if the actor wants to hear what's going on, and lowered in their headphones as they do the line, then you can feed it to them and give it to them however they want. And meanwhile, you're in the control room, you can turn it off completely so you can focus on hearing what you're recording, right? Another way you could do it also is creating another aux. We'll call this to actor. Send this out straight out to their headphones. We'll create a bus here. We'll say 1 and 2. And then these can go out bus 1 and 2. And in this case, I would not send it pre-fader. Cool. Kind of the same idea here. But now this is coming straight to them out in their headphones. So I'm coming out of these 2 tracks into this bus, and that's going straight to their headphones. Why would I do it this way? Well, I have been in situations where the picture in the control room and the picture, meaning the video, this video up here that we're all watching. Let me move it over here to the side. There's been times where I've seen the video in the control room have a delay from what the actor's seeing in the booth, which can be a problem. But there's a solution. So my solution would be to add some sort of delay here on this track, sample delay or milliseconds delay. Go out there and try to figure out what that delay is. In most cases, it's probably just a few frames or 3 to 4 frames. So figure that out and then put that delay there. That way, whatever they're hearing. Let's just see here. Let's just look for a delay here. Let's see. Delay. Which is the one I'm thinking of here? Let me see. Too many plugins here. Okay, here we go. Time adjuster. So let's say I figure out what the delay is in samples, right? Let's just say it's 4,000. 4,000. So I would put this on this track that's going to the actor and going in the dialogue going to the actor. So now they're hearing everything in time from what I'm seeing. That's one way to do it. Again, it really just depends on the setup you're working with and, whatever makes sense to your brain. For now, we'll lose this track and we'll use the sends, as I think that's easier to understand. And I think that'll work for most situations. Cool. So I got the dialogue coming to me, dialogue going to the actors, sound effects and music coming to me and the actors. And then I can adjust their levels however they want. Cool. And now we got the beeps. So again, the beeps, we don't want any inputs. The beeps will come out to me in the control room, and then we'll send those beeps out to the actor. Again, with some more control, we'll do a send, which actually needs to be a headphone send. So now we have control over their sound effects, music, and beeps. And now we're getting back to the playback tracks. So again, we don't need any inputs for these. We'll make these control room. And again, we'll send these pre-fader. We probably don't even we really don't even need to make these pre-fader really. Let's just keep it simple. Just know that if you're going, a lot of you watching this probably already know, but pre-fader just allows you to have control over the send, and it's not affected by what you're doing on this fader here. If you have any questions, leave in the comments. I can make another video explaining that, but I'm sure there's a ton of videos online that you can find that can explain everything you need to know about pre-fader sends. Cool, let's just keep these post-fader sends, just normal sends coming out. So now we got our playback, which is coming to me in the control room here. And remember, this is where I would play back a boom or a lav, depending on whatever I think would match the production during the session. And so that I'm getting it here in the control room, and then the actors are getting in their headphones so they can hear the playback. So I got my record track. Here's where I would record the boom and the lav, and I kind of made an input already. It's a stereo input, which would have the boom on the left side and the lav on the right. And then we would need to then we would come out of bus. How I would do it is come out of bus, let's say bus 5 and 6. Let's go to I/O. Playback. Playback, boom. Playback lav. So I'm basically creating a bus, which I'm going to use on my record track here. So I got my input coming in, which would be my actor, which would be the boom on the left, lav on the right, and I'm going to spit that back out this playback bus, which is then going to feed these two tracks. And this is how I monitor. I explained in my last video. It's kind of how I monitor the boom and the lav. I know some people listen to both at the same time. Some guys will pan one left, hard right, hard left and hard right. I like to just listen to one at a time, but periodically I'll check in on the lav frequently, because if one of those mics is going to give you an issue, it's going to be the lav. I think I mentioned this in the last video. I got a session once from another studio in a different state, and I don't think the guy listened to the lav at all, because it was completely useless. There was some distortion RFI on it. It was completely usable, and I don't think he checked it once. I think he put it on the guy and just set it and forget it. Okay, cool. So now we want the playback, the monitor to come to me in the control room. And then our selects and alts, we don't want any inputs, and those will come to me in the control room. And typically I leave those muted. Those are just there to place selects and alts, just placeholders. Okay, so we got our record track. We got the boom and mic coming in. Then it's coming out of the bus, playback bus, that I named playback, into monitor boom, monitor lav. And if I want to listen to the lav our recording, I turn it up here. And if I want to listen to the boom, then I turn it up here. Okay, so now what? The actor needs to hear themselves, right? So let's come out of the monitor boom to the actor's headphones. So now the actor, the talent, can hear themselves talking, right? Now, this one I would always make pre-fader. And the reason being is during session, when I need to check on that lav, I want to do it discreetly. So meaning when I turn down the boom and turn up the lav to hear it, to make sure it's all good and didn't fall off, or it's not rubbing up against their shirt or sweater or necklaces, banging on it, I don't want them to know that I did anything. So I send them their own feed, their voice to themselves, pre-fader. So whenever I do anything to this channel, they're not hearing anything happen. They're always hearing something. They're always hearing themselves in their headphones being sent to them. And it also gives me control to send more or less of themselves. If they want more of themselves, I'll send it up. If they want less, turn it down. Cool. And then we got our directors. So let's see. So basically, if the director is sitting out in the live the live room or the stage with the actor, I typically would set up some sort of mic or something so they can communicate with me in the control room. A lot of the time, some places don't have a director mic. They usually just rely on the boom that's set up for the actors. And if the director's not too far from the actors, you're going to hear what they're saying, which works fine. I like to have a direct mic in front of them. That way I can hear what they're saying all the time and it's clear. I'm not having to guess or turn up the boom to try to hear what they're saying. And then it gets real roomy if you're just relying on that boom mic. So I'll put my director mic out there, and this is just coming to me. I don't need it to go anywhere else, just for me to hear. And then depending on your situation, again, I'm working on a C24 recently, which I know, right? I wish I had a newer board, but the C24 has a talkback button on it, so I don't really have to create a talkback. But you may be in a situation where you're just using a mouse and a keyboard, maybe if you're just in the box completely. You would then set up some sort of mic for yourself next to you. That way you can communicate with them. So you would choose an input. So let's just create one real quick. Let's say we had a new path. We'll call this talkback. And you'd want that just to go to their headphones. So again, this is the mic you would have in the control room with you if you were in a different room. That way you can communicate with the actor and the director. And then there's a director mic in there. He can communicate with you. And then the boom and lav, that's set up for the actor. That's how you hear the actor if they need to tell you anything. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Pretty simple setup. Again, it could get a little more complicated if we start adding in reverbs or, Source Connect or Zoom. Guys, let me know in the comments below if you want me to continue on and add Zoom or Source Connect or both, and then maybe set up a few reverbs. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me just go over this, make sure I didn't miss anything. We'll go over it together one more time. So I have the dialogue track here. It's coming to me only in the control room. I have a separate discrete feed of the same dialogue. It's a duplicate going to the actor, going straight to the headphones. That way we have separate control over what they want to hear. Underneath, I have the sound effects and music coming to me in the control room and the actor to their headphones. I got the beeps track is where I would place the beeps. Coming to me in the control room and the headphones. Playbacks coming to me in the control room and the headphones. On the record track, I got the boom and mic coming in, which is feeding these two aux tracks so I can have control over what I'm hearing during the recording. Underneath the record track, I got the select and alt. It's just coming to me in the control room, but I usually just mute it. Honestly, you could probably just make it active. They're just there for placeholders. And then on this monitoring track on the boom, I'm sending the actor their feed so they can hear themselves live in their headphones. I'm setting it pre-fader. That way, whenever I turn down this track and want to hear the monitor, the lav in the control room, they won't know that I did anything at all. You don't want to distract them by just, if they're talking and they hear themselves voice get cut off, it could be distracting and could ruin the performance. And underneath that, we have a directions track. That way the director can speak to you directly if he's in the other room with the actor. And you have a talkback track, so the people in the other room on the stage, the live room, can hear you if you need to let them know anything. And I would try to find some sort of talkback button. I wouldn't have an open mic on the whole time. That might be distracting for them too if they're hearing your mic open the whole time. You can find some really cool, affordable little like talkback buttons. I have a real cool one that looks like it launches nuclear missiles. If you guys want any links to those, just put in the comments and I'll share a few. That way your mic's not constantly open. You just press the button, speak, and then let go, and it just automatically mutes your mic. You could do that for the directors too. I usually just leave it open. It's never really much of an issue. Cool, guys. I hope this helps. Again, if there's any other questions or if you want me to create that other video or something else, please let me know. Anything audio related, I guess, or mostly post-production, maybe even music, if somebody's interested in mixing songs or something like that. But yeah, cool. Have a great day, guys. Thanks so much.